Hey everybody, it is late at night and I am Norman. I recently received another watch, and if you caught my first impressions of this watch, you'll know that the Elysee has been traded. That's right, this watch is the watch that I traded for that. It arrived, I did a first impressions video of it. Tonight we're going to do a full review of the Shanghai watch. And if you're interested in this piece, if you have a watch that you want to trade for it, shoot me an email. My email address is in the description below. So let's take a close look at this watch. Here is the Shanghai watch, and if you caught my first impressions video of this watch, it'll look very familiar. I still don't know a ton about this brand. I did find a Reddit post where someone was saying that back in the day, these were really highly regarded and were kind of the Rolex of China. But I will have to do some more digging. The pieces that I've seen by this brand look absolutely amazing. And this is one of them. This piece looks great. So it ships on a really stiff alligator embossed strap, and this will definitely need to be replaced. But I have seen worse, so it's kind of on par with like a cheap Timex or something, or a really cheap Seiko. It's an odd width, which is kind of a pain. It has a plain buckle on it. Pretty decent looking buckle though. And it is fairly comfortable when you're wearing it. Looking at the lugs, they're fairly short, and they're kind of cut into the case, kind of like my CWC, just notched out of there. And the case is sort of a tonneau shape, and the whole thing is glossy. I believe this model is a reissue of a 1970s watch, so this piece is brand new. I like the sides of the case. It kind of makes it look thinner than it is and gives it an elegant appearance. It kind of reminds me of a design that Christopher Ward would do, but a bit simpler. Looking at the case back, there's a bunch of embossing on there, and it's really fun seeing all of these Chinese characters back there. Mandarin characters, would it be? I'm not entirely certain, but it's always fun seeing characters of a different language on watches, in my opinion. I think that's partly why I love Chrono Tokyo so much. But we have a model number on there, and I'm not sure what the rest of it says. But it's pretty cool looking. Now, removing this case back would be a challenge. You'd have to have a special tool to do that. You can't just use a standard case wrench. The watch is fairly thin, hugs your wrist pretty well. The crown that's on this is a good size, which is great because this is a hand winding watch, so you will be winding it daily. And the movement doesn't feel too bad. It feels like an inexpensive vintage watch kind of, but it's fairly smooth. What's interesting is this watch does take quite a few winds, more than most of my hand wound watches. It seems to be doing amazingly well on the time grapher, at least when I first received it and put it on there. Alright, let's pop this crown out and see what it's like to operate it. There is a nice amount of resistance when you're moving the hands. I like that. You can see that the movement does not hack, so that second's hand is still going. We'll get this around to 10 and 2. And then we'll pop that crown back in. Very nice. Yeah, using that crown isn't bad at all. Looking at the crystal, I absolutely love this crystal. It's a box crystal, but the transition is pretty tight on it. It's not super rounded, but it looks amazing. Yeah. Looking at the dial, it's a stark white. Personally, I prefer light dials that have a bit of a cream to them or something not quite as stark. But this white looks great on this piece. The handset is great as well. Just nice and basic. They're chromed. There's no lume on them. And I love that tiny seconds hand, and look at that little itty bitty red dot on the tip of that. That is so cool. And the text that's on this dial is great. We have some more Mandarin, and we have Shanghai, and then some text down here above the 6 o'clock. The indices that are on this are applied and they're nice and chrome. And if you look on the edge of the dial, you can see a very subtle minutes track. It's very small, very subdued, which is pretty cool. It kind of gives this dial a minimal look, sort of. I mean, this is a great looking watch. And it is currently up for trade if any of you are interested in it. Just email me the watch you would like to offer for this. My email address is in the description below, and we'll talk about it. As for the specifications on this watch, the case size is 36 millimeters, the case height is 11 millimeters, the lug to lug is 43 millimeters, the lug width is 19 millimeters, and the crystal is acrylic. Alright, so let me take off my gilt dial Everest, and we'll see what it's like when you're wearing the Shanghai watch. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist. Look at that, that looks so cool. Oh, that crystal. It's a great design. It's nice and clean. I love the text on the dial. It's a great size. It's not quite as small as some of my other vintage pieces, so it may appeal to more people. It has great wrist presence. Definitely looks really cool on a black strap. Really brings out that chrome of the case and the white dial. Yeah, this piece is just brilliant. So there you have it, the absolutely brilliant looking Shanghai watch. This thing is just gorgeous. I'm gonna have to wear it as much as I can before it gets traded off. Thanks for watching.